All right. You gotta love Max Kellerman for talking out the side of his neck. Thank you, Max Kellerman, for saying that Deontay Wilder is irrelevant and giving me the chance to respond. Let's talk about what Max Kellerman has to say about Deontay Wilder in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Max Kellerman of ESPN, formerly of HBO Boxing, has something to say about Deontay Wilder, about Deontay Wilder being irrelevant in the heavyweight division. So, little background. Deontay Wilder was the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. He lost his last fight to Tyson Fury. He is now, I don't have his record in front of him, but I think he's like 42. I believe he's 42-1 with 40 knockouts, reigned as the WBC champion for 5 years and 10 title defenses, is still the number one viewed heavyweight in America by far. By far. Tyson Fury has had fights without Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury's numbers were terrible. Deontay Wilder has fights without Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder's fights are still excellent. Still got great numbers without him, and have ever since he got his hands on the heavyweight title. No matter what people like Max Kellerman have to say, and boxing fans of Anthony Joshua had to say about how nobody knows him and all that nonsense they were pushing out on him, Deontay Wilder is, as of right now, the number one drawing American fighter, period. There's no other American fighter that draws the numbers either to his venues or to his pay-per-views or to his regular television programs as Deontay Wilder. And he did all of that without any of the press and any of the push behind that was given to Tyson Fury and all the money that ESPN spent propping him up. Deontay Wilder got his fan base from the mud. He got it from knocking out guy after guy after guy after guy. And guess what these boxing media people have always said? They say it when it's Arturo Gatti. They say it's when it's Mickey Ward. They say it when it's a fighter that they like. That if they lose, it doesn't matter because the fights that they get are exciting. Have you seen a boring Deontay Wilder fight? Of course you have not. You've never seen a boring Deontay Wilder fight. You've never seen a boring lead up to a Deontay Wilder fight. You've never heard anything boring after the Deontay Wilder fight because you always get a highlight reel. So for Max Kellerman to say that guy is irrelevant in the sport of boxing is just about as stupid as some of the other things that Max Kellerman has said. So let's review now. But I do think it's ironic though that Max Kellerman would be calling Deontay Wilder irrelevant when it is Max Kellerman over the course of the last several years that has become irrelevant in the sport of boxing. Max Kellerman and his partners over there at HBO managed to ruin the number one boxing channel on the planet that had been the top channel, the number one place to go to for championship boxing for since the 1980s, since the late 1980s, mid 1980s, since they were legitimately the top people, all of the 90s, from most of the 1980s, all through the 1990s, through 2000 to 2010, from 2010 to 2015, until they got enough leeway to start picking the fighters and doing the thing and getting these bull crap fights that boxing department over there at HBO decided to start doing. And they ran HBO so far into the ground that they cut off their boxing program entirely. You have to be a monumental F up to do that. Now, who actually cares what Max Kellerman has to say about boxing? Nobody that I know cares at all or has much respect at all for Max Kellerman, any more respect for Max Kellerman than they would have for, actually, many YouTube channels have more respect and are better at predicting fights and have more realistic view about what's going on in boxing than Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman career peaked. He came into boxing with a lot of excitement, and people thought he was this young guy that was really going to, he was going to change the way that HBO, was treating fighters. He wasn't going to be like Jim Lampley. Guess what? Did not happen. All he did was turn into a Jim Lampley, and now he's carrying it on over there at ESPN. And if you do not believe that Max Kellerman is a fool, Max Kellerman is the guy that said nobody can tell him anything different than this. That Manny Pacquiao is the top fighter of this century over Floyd Mayweather Jr., and nobody can tell him differently. How does that work? How can you be taken seriously when you say that? You can't be. Floyd Mayweather Jr., number one, ain't lost, never lost, and fought many of the same people that Manny Pacquiao fought, and he fought him first. He beat Manny Pacquiao. He beat Manny Pacquiao himself. He actually beat Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao lost 6 times in the same century that Max Kellerman is saying Manny Pacquiao's the number one guy. Manny Pacquiao lost to Tim Bradley. Manny Pacquiao lost to Eric Morales. Manny Pacquiao lost to Jeff Horn. He got knocked out cold by Juan Manuel Marquez. He got beat, didn't get knocked out, got beat handily by Floyd Mayweather Jr. But yet this dude will tell you that Manny Pacquiao is the number one fighter of the century. And nobody can convince him any different. Well, that would make sense then. That would tell you why you would think that a top 3, no less than a top 3 heavyweight is irrelevant in the sport of boxing. That a guy that just came off a very successful pay-per-view and is headed into another one that is gonna be another big sell, that somehow he is irrelevant. The guy that no other heavyweight champion can keep his name out of their mouth is irrelevant. No, man, you know what he's trying to do? He's doing the same. Max Kellerman is doing the same bullshit. Excuse my French. The same bullshit that he was doing over there at HBO, where he is trying to manufacture consent, where he is trying to tell and lead people to believe that the fighters that are with his network are really the good fighters and not the network and not the fighters that's with another network. Same thing went with Manny Pacquiao. Who was Manny Pacquiao with when Manny Pacquiao was this greatest fighter of the century? It was HBO. Floyd Mayweather Jr. left him high and dry and went over there to Showtime and built Showtime. And by the time Floyd Mayweather Jr. got done fighting with Showtime wind up literally getting higher ratings over on Showtime, on Showtime than they were getting over there on HBO. That's what you get for riding with you're trying to manufacture the greatest fighter of all time. And they do the same the greatest fighter. Now they try to do that too. Try to say Manny Pacquiao is the greatest fighter of all time. So anyway, man, these marketing guys, these media dudes, they just try to push the narrative that is closest to their network. Max Kellerman, who is not covering boxing actually at the fight. And I think he was replaced by Mark Kragel. Like, why would if you are, dude, you're irrelevant, dude. You got Mark Kragel took your spot, man. Not covering fight. You don't cover basketball. Your basketball coverage sucks. The dude just sucks, man. I'm so disappointed, man, in Max Kellerman. Oh, geez, I got an email. So disappointed in Max Kellerman. But for him saying this about Deontay Wilder is probably just, it's probably a combination of just his bullhead stupidity, but at the same time, also an acknowledgement that he has to push the fighters that fight on ESPN over fighters that do not fight on ESPN. So anyway, that's my take on it. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.